Hello, my Rockworld fans. We are here today in Munich on a sunny, peaceful day, sitting here with Susan Tedeschi and Derek Drax, and they play tonight in Munich at the concert, and we have an exclusive interview. So let us get to the first question. As we know, you had 3 CDs. The first album was The Revelator, which got already a Grammy for the Best Blues Album and also a Blues Music Award for the Album of the Year. Then the great live album Everybody's Talking, and now the new one, Made Up Mind. Please tell us something about your new album, and have you got an own individual favorite song on this album, and why?
The favorite song switches from show to show. Making the record was a blast. We were kind of in a in-between point. We were between O'Teal Burbridge, who was a bass player in the band, and now Tim LaFave, who is a permanent bass player. So we got to work with a lot of our heroes on this record, like Pino Palladino, just an amazing player, Bagiti Kumala, a bunch of great bass players. So it was kind of a transitional time for the band, but I think the band grew quite a bit making this record. We hit the studio just more confident than the first few records, and I think the whole thing's in a better place than it's ever been. As far as favorite song, it really does shift from every listen. I don't go back and listen to the records often, but every time I do, there's something new that I enjoy about it. I think right now maybe Idle Wind is my favorite song to play on.
Susan?
I love a lot of the songs. This is the first record I've ever been on that I actually can listen to. and I even can work out to it. I can go running, start it right on Made Up Mind, which I love. I really love the song It's So Heavy, just for the message. I think it's really relevant in the world that we live in.
Yeah, you're right.
And I also love the sound of Sweet and Low on the record. Something about the way that just harmonically the band sounds. It's really beautiful and kind of warm, and it has a very inviting sound. But like Derek said, it switches all the time. I used to love Calling Out to You, used to be my favorite just because it was in the moment and so raw, and it was really the first time we ever played it. So, there's a lot of different things I love about this record, which in the past I can't really say. Growing up, all my records have been like that. But getting to make records with Derek, I really love all of them. So it's really fun.
Okay, so we had 3 CDs in 3 years. 2014, can we expect something new?
We're working on it. We're going to start working on it actually at the end of the month. We'll start writing and recording a little bit with the band actually in May.
In your studio in Florida.
And I think the next phase of this band is we're going to take as much time as we need on this record. I really want it to be a bit more experimental. I want it to feel a little bit more like the live show. So I think the next record will be a little bit of a departure from the first 2 studio records. And it's really the last year or so it's been as busy as it's ever been as far as touring, and there's been a lot of stuff in the air. But when we get back home from this tour, we're going to have a few weeks at home, and the band's going to come down. So just going to write, see what happens. The beauty of having the studio at home is rehearsal, writing, all of it can turn into a recording session with just
2 or all 11 players.
It'll start with just the 2 of us, and then we'll have the core of the band down, the rhythm section. We'll have our 2 drummers, Tim, Mike Madison, and Kofi down, and we'll do some writing with that core. And then everybody comes and goes after that.
Very cool. What's your own favorite song playing live together with the band, and how often do you change the set list?
We change it night to night.
Yeah, night to night it changes, and just depends on what's. You can think you have your favorite song, but it might be something totally different that night. So it just depends on whatever happens live in the moment.
Yeah, the beauty of this band is it's starting to reinterpret everything from night to night. So, songs take on a different life every show.
So you mean this is a bigger thing, a jam thing? It's on a level of a jam band?
Yeah, or maybe even the great old jazz bands and even the original blues bands. It was you kind of, whatever the spirit is in the room, that's what you play. And we change it we'll write a set list, but sometimes you'll get halfway through a set and you'll realize that it wants to go in a different direction. So everybody's really paying attention these days. So we change it on the fly quite a bit.
Okay, what is the reason why the two key solo guitar players left Allman Brothers at the same time?
You know, I'd been thinking about leaving for a long time.
10 years?
Yeah. Really, you know, really since the
I don't know.
no, but really since the 40th anniversary, I've been actively
5
trying to find the right time to leave, and you know, Warren's thing has always been when I go, he goes, and that's just kind of the way it shook out. So, you know, 45th was for the last 3 years. That was my end date, and you know, once we got closer to that date, I think it started. Everybody's version of the end date changed except for mine. so you know, I was going to make a statement, and I let Warren know that I was going to make a statement, and he decided that was the right time for him too. So
Like twins.
yeah.
But I read that the Allman Brothers were the reason you two came together.
Yeah, it's
Because you
true.
met at the Allman Brothers concert when you were the support act.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was opening, and he was playing with them.
1999.
99, the summer of 99. We were out all July and August together on
So the
tour.
Allman Brothers were always beside your uncle Butch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all.
I've been part
It's
of the
all
Allman Brothers
family.
too
Yeah.
since then. I feel like I've had to listen to all of them. In a good way.
Like in the Allman Brothers band, you play with two drummers. Is there a special reason for also having a band with 11 members? How you organize rehearsing, touring, recording?
I mean, it's a lot to take on, you know. It's a big band, it's a big organization, and a lot of personalities. But there's something about when you get that many talented people moving in the same direction. It's hard to beat, you know. When it's working, the energy is like nothing I've really felt before.
What drives the band from the organizing here? Because if you're the musician, I know that thing. The bass player is often not here.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
is that so? Or is it different?
I mean, there's
a lot
a
of professionals. in this
yeah,
band.
and a lot of people are looking out and making it work. I mean, but you know, really the interpersonal stuff, that's kind of my job, you know, to make sure everybody's on the same page, and I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy the challenge of it, and enjoy.
They listen to him.
Yeah, so
They
it's
don't always listen to everybody.
So you're the authority.
he's ultimately in charge, and he has the biggest picture of the band. You know,
This is pretty cool.
as far as the future
Yes.
and where we can go, and
Also the music
And
picture,
musically, yeah,
going a little bit jazz, a
absolutely.
little bit that, a little bit in that direction.
Derek has a vision, and,
Yeah, you gotta
and we
think-
all can see
Very
it.
cool.
no, you got to think long with a band like this. You got to think a year or two down the road and where you want it to
Yeah.
go, and then try to allow that to happen. Things are changing all the time. I mean, you never make plans and then it works exactly like you think it is.
Right,
but
right.
you have to be willing to.
That's life.
Yeah, and the with a band like this, you're always finding people's strengths and you adjust accordingly. You know, you want to make sure that you're using the best of everybody in the band and making it fly. And the more we play together, the more everyone trusts each other's instinct and
Yeah.
trusts what you can do. So it's been growing.
Yeah, very cool.
This picture shows somehow that there's the authority behind the authority. Is this true? Are you in the background, steering the background?
Oh yeah, no, she's in charge too. I mean, it's co-leaders, and
I have an opinion.
that's for sure.
Sure.
I think we, Derek and I share a lot of things in common, and one of the things I actually really enjoy about this band is that he takes on a lot of the responsibility, because it frees me up to really focus on learning my parts and learning and trying to be focused. But ultimately, I mean, if I have an idea, he's very open-minded to it, and I share it with him, and just as if our bass player or our drummer has an idea, ultimately we all go to Derek, and usually kind of throw it by him. But everybody's very invested in this band, personally, and just our whole lives are really invested in it, and we all want to do the best we can. And I think we all sort of agree that Derek has a very strong vision of how to get us to where we really want to get to. So
I read this in the bio on your website that this is a little bit of an circus, psychedelic circus rolling down the road.
it is.
This is what I really like. So it's a little bit of Mad Dogs in Englishman thing,
Yeah.
but with a positive vibe?
Yeah, it's that idea. We just plan on keeping it together longer. less rehab.
I love it.
Maybe.
Cool. What advice would you give a kid starting out to be a musician nowadays? Because the business has changed, as you know, and it's pretty harder than in the old days.
Yeah, I mean, the business has changed. I mean, I can say from my career from the beginning, even starting at 9 and 10 years old, that it was always the live shows that kept the thing going. So it was just play, whether it's practicing or rehearsing or gigs, or you just play, and you have to be willing to do it all the time. You really do have to pay your dues now like you did 50, 60 years ago. There's really no difference. I mean, there's other ways you can do it. There's the instant gratification of how many YouTube hits you can get and all of these things, but I don't think that sustains a long-lasting career.
No.
You have to get in front of people, and you have to win everybody over individually, one by one, and that lasts. So I think in that sense it hasn't changed. You can't make enough money to keep a band together doing what we do, making records anymore. Like that model's gone. So you really have to get out and gig and make it work. But that, for us, that's what we love to do. So it's not we love making records as a documentation of where the band is, and I love the process of making records, but that's a different thing. I wasn't around when you made a record and that changed your career. Like it's something you do along the way.
Maybe it's a good thing because Keith Richards says in an interview once a day, he just wanted to play Chicago blues, and overnight he was a pop star. So this is really a big change if you want to play that kind of style, and then you're a pop star and never can finish a concert because all the girls are screaming the whole time.
Yeah, no, and I would rather have it slow and steady the way we're doing it and playing the music you love to play. So, we're not boxed in. There's not any song we have to play every night. There's no hit that you have to play. It changes. We can change a set list from night to night, and some people will come to hear certain things, but they're coming to hear what the band does, and that's a nice place to be. We're fortunate. So,
I would suggest to a young person, write your own stuff and try to create your own sound. Those are two of the biggest things, because those are two things that will take you for a long career. If you keep pushing yourself to write and to listen to the things that you love, try to, continuously do that.
Yeah.
And just in everything else that Derek said too. But it is a different world nowadays, and I wouldn't even know how to approach it, honestly. It's much more difficult to really get started and to really have a full-on career.
Yeah.
Like you said, you could become an instant pop star, but what's that going to do? It's good for a couple of years, but it's really difficult to find your own sound and who you are when people just tell you you're great right away and you're young. I think the most important thing is to not really believe everybody and to really stay true to yourself and to keep working at it. No matter what anyone says, if they tell you you're great, keep trying to become better.
Yeah.
Blues is not anymore the mainstream today in Europe. How is blues and soul developing in USA like you do?
It goes back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's still underground for the most part.
It's sort of underground right now, but it goes in waves. I think every 10, 15 years it becomes popular again and then kind of goes back.
But there's enough of a scene, in the States where it's still alive. But it really comes down to, are there any new artists that are making real music that is in that category? You can only regurgitate the same stuff for so long before it goes away. So it really comes down to, there's some of the living legends that are still out doing it. There's Buddy Guy and BB's still out there. Who knows how much longer these guys are going to be able to do it. So it's really about finding that next generation. But there's bands that do it, and even bands that people maybe don't consider straight blues, but a band like the Wood Brothers or even Scrap-O-Matic, who Mike Madison, who's in our band, his band. I mean, they play folk, blues, traditional music, in the way, and they write their songs, and it might not be the same 12-bar blues that people are used to, but it's in the spirit of it. So I think that's what's going to carry it on, is people making real music that's relevant today, but that's still steeped in that spirit. Because there's only so many times you can hear the same songs played the same way before you've heard it.
So Mike Madison was a solo singer for 8 CDs, a lot of years. How did he take the challenge to go now in the background?
I mean, when we first talked about this, we talked about having both of them up front, and he really had the idea of having 2 male background singers and being the pips.
His idea.
He loves.
It was really his idea?
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, he loves being in the background, and because he has a lot of the cover ideas or his ideas. He's a great songwriter.
For the choruses,
the vocal stuff.
He's sing?
Yeah, so he's very much involved. I mean, he's one of the silent partners.
Cool. This is always a question which is very interesting for us because that's it all about. Who were your music heroes starting out playing music?
We had a lot of common heroes, but I mean, for me, it was Elmore James and Duane Allman originally. Those are the 2, and then Howlin' Wolf and B.B., Albert, Freddie King. A lot of singers, Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway, Aretha Franklin. Then a lot of jazz musicians, Wayne Shorter, John Coltrane, Sun Ra. Then it was Indian classical music. It was Ali Akbar Khan and Qawwali music, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. You just follow whatever moves you, And I've always been lucky that it's never been one style or one genre. It's always just whatever moves you. So, I mean, those are probably the
influence.
Who
influenced? Who was the biggest influence for you from this guy you told?
The first was Duane Allman, and then it was probably John Coltrane, and then Ali Akbar Khan. Those are probably the 3 for me.
Susan?
Oh my goodness. Well, early on, I didn't have the luxury of having as many of my favorite artists that I actually have now. So my influences early were people that maybe wouldn't be my influences anymore. Early on, it was people like Judy Garland and Linda Ronstadt and artists like that.
Yeah.
And then later, it was Buddy Holly and the Everly Brothers and Bob Dylan and the Beatles. And then when I really started singing a lot, it was people like Aretha and Donny Hathaway and Otis Redding and voices, a lot of gospel singers like Mahalia Jackson. And it's interesting. Then all of a sudden one day I discovered that Chicago blues artists who could really sing and play guitar, like Freddie King and Otis Rush, and that opened up my whole world. T-Bone Walker, Magic Sam, a lot of these guys, and Buddy Guy, of course. When I really discovered that's what I wanted to be, Johnny Guitar Watson. And then when I was hanging out with Etta James, she said, that's who I want to be. And I was like, well, that makes sense why I want to be you and Johnny Guitar Watson, because I love Etta too. And I think it's that passion, that soul, that passion, as well as, and having the outlet on guitar as well. So a lot of those kind of players really inspired me. That's why B.B. King and John Lee Hooker, to Son House, Lightning Hopkins, whether it's traditional or, Elmore James, like he said, Elmore has one of the most amazing voices and tone, on guitar. So, it is something about the tone of all those artists that, he mentioned. And actually, Derek has been a huge influence on me as well, not just him musically, but a lot of the people that he's listened to. I've really learned a lot from listening to Indian classical and jazz, just by hanging out with him. And it's really opened up my world a lot. And I really appreciate that from a lot of the people in our band. They all have a lot of different influences. And I think it's about just keeping your mind open and listening to all different stuff.
Yes. Cool.
Derek, you once mentioned a music teacher who teaches first singing and then playing the instrument.
Yeah.
What about your singing? I never saw you in front of a microphone.
No, I don't sing in public.
Just under the shower?
That's right.
Okay.
I'm surrounded by good singers, so I'll let them do that.
When is the point in time when you fixed your style of playing guitar like you do today?
I mean, some of it was there from the beginning. Some of your sound is just who you are. I mean, when I listen back to some early recordings, there's things that I think I still do. So, but hopefully it's constantly evolving. I don't know when it's settled where it is now. I mean, I hope that it's constantly changing. But yeah, there's parts of it that have from the first time I plugged into an electric to an amp, it was kind of the same. So some of it you can't fight. It just is what it is.
What was your very first guitar? Do you still remember?
Yeah, I have it. It was a garage sale guitar. It was like a K knockoff. It was called a J. J-A-Y. It's terrible.
But you have it.
Yeah, I have it.
That's it.
A few years ago, Susan and Bobby Tees, my guitar tech, they sent my first 3 guitars. It was this old Yamaha pawn shop guitar, the J, and then this
That weird electric one?
this weird electric that has no name on it. And they sent it to Paul Reed Smith, the guitar maker, and he fixed them up so they were playable
So they're
again.
playable.
Because they were unplayable for a while. They sat in the garage and just warped. So now they're all playable. But they make a sound at least.
Please tell us a funny or anything band tour bus secret nobody knows.
We'll get somebody in trouble. I don't know if there's any good secrets to let go, but this band is more fun to tour with than maybe any band I've ever been a part of. It really is it's a rolling education. Every night on the bus, it's a party. Somebody's got their phone or their iPod plugged into the stereo, and there's music going at all times, and there's usually good beer, good wine flowing, and
Cigars.
amazing stories. It's a good time, and
But without your children.
Oh yeah, no. When the kids are out, it changes a bit.
Yeah.
The music still plays, and the wine
honestly-
still flows.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this band, we have different people who like to play DJ. So somebody like JJ will put their iPod on, and we get turned on to tons of music. And
So
it's
this
really
is the
cool.
story about a hippie bus.
It kind of is. Yeah, we live on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we used to have a record player, so they would play records on the bus.
Yeah, we carry a
sometimes.
turntable on the bus from time to
But
time.
you drive with one nightliner or with 2 or
It's
how you do it?
no. There's we have 2 buses on the road because there's so many of us.
So many, it's 20 of
But
us,
usually
yeah.
we get as many of the band in one bus, and then crew in the other bus.
So the secret is surviving the night without sleeping.
Yeah, not a lot of sleeping goes
Not
on.
always sleep.
The bunks are there, so if you need to tap out and get some rest, you sleep for a minute till the
But
next.
this is the best thing if you have a good attitude in the band, and then this is the best what you can happen, because I can't imagine driving in a bus for 10 hours and having assholes beside me. That's not possible.
No, it's not.
That was a big part of putting this band together, was people that you wanted to spend time with.
So is it a really friendship between the
Oh, yeah.
musicians?
No, it's family.
It's family. It's
Absolutely,
really family.
it is. Yeah. No, everybody looks forward to getting back out on the road with this band. I mean, you love being home, but when you get back out on the road, you're excited to see everybody. You're excited to get in the bus and play. It's really it's a unique situation, because I've
This is
been
unique.
Yeah, I've
Never
been
heard about it.
Yeah, it doesn't happen
By the
much.
way.
Yeah, no, it's true. He's absolutely right.
Days off, any city we're in, it's like everybody meets up and you go
Yeah.
explore the city, and nobody really branches off and
Yeah.
wants to be away from the
Yeah.
band. Everybody wants to be together, so it's
And it's
a nice
such
spot.
a big group. It's hard for everyone to go everywhere. So it's nice. Like, we even have little mini groups within the big group.
Yeah.
So there's always little groups sticking together no matter
Yeah.
what. So
And
it's
you-
almost like a buddy system. You usually have about 5 people.
But this is a cool way of developing music, because you can do everything with that.
It's true.
In that. Otherwise,
it's nice to have shared experiences to draw from when you're improvising, and then you see music together, you hear
Yeah.
things, and
Yeah.
This is it.
you can draw from the same
Yeah.
place. So it's a unique situation.
How do you prepare yourself if you go to a festival without your band, like Crossroads? Sometimes you're with band, sometimes without band. How do you prepare yourself without band?
I don't know. He does the Crossroads stuff more than I do.
It depends on the gig. The Crossroads thing, you just show up, and I mean, I was there with the Allman Brothers this last time, before it was this band or the beginning of this band. But you just show up open-minded and ready to contribute wherever you can. They asked me to sit in with Sonny Landreth, so we had a day to rehearse, and you give it a shot. The songs that I ended up playing with Blake Mills was 10 minutes before he went on. He's like, can you mind playing this song? I was like, yeah, show it to me. Let's do it, whatever.
But exactly referring to this show.
That's what happens.
So you just have to keep your eyes and ears
I
open.
didn't even know I was getting up.
Oh yeah, she was last minute too with Los Lobos.
Yeah, I was just hanging out as his wife, and then
Hidalgo's like, oh no, you're getting
David's
up on
like,
stage.
come on up and sing. Okay. So I'm ready whenever. So yeah.
One quick question answer session about a few names. One name, one sentence. Doyle Bramhill.
Amazing. I love his guitar playing and his singing and his songwriting. And I love that he plays in so many tunings, upside down and lefty.
Yeah. But Doyle's he's another band member. He's one of the honorary band members.
Yeah.
Johnny Winter.
I love Johnny. I mean, he's one of my teachers. You know, he's a
soulful guy.
He's an American treasure.
He is.
Eric Clapton.
Another teacher. You know, I mean, he was really generous with the time he gave me and Doyle to get out there and play in front of people. He was a life changer.
He's one of my all-time favorites. When he got the call, I'm like, you're doing it.
Gotta do it.
Yeah, I made him take the gig. No, he wanted to do it anyway, but.
Okay. Good.
And he's so humble too. He's really sweet.
At last, some words, please, to your fans.
Thank you for not giving up on us. We promise to work hard and keep creating music.
I mean, we realize that what allows us to do what we do is people showing up and enjoying it and also getting something out of it. So, we're very appreciative. And the one thing this band takes very seriously is the time on stage and the music that's made. And no matter what's going on in your life, or you never phone it in. I mean, this band, and also being away, if you're away from your kids and your family, that you're going to make it count, So we really do take the time on stage very seriously, and you give everything you can. You realize that people, especially when you're overseas and you're places that you maybe only play once every 5-6 years, or you realize people are coming from a long ways to see you sometimes, and you can't let a long day or lack of sleep or a bad mood affect the show. You got to get up and give it what you got. So, this band's very good at that. They hit the stage and you air it out. And but yeah, I mean, we're excited about playing Germany more and more. I feel like it's one of those spots we're going to be able to come back to, and it's starting to feel like it does in the States, where we have there's fans that know the story, and they come to get the medicine, and so
it's building up a new fan base.
Absolutely.
And but the fans are here because we have a lot of requests getting for your band, because it's just great music, and the people in Germany know exactly about good or bad music.
Yeah.
This is a big difference.
No, we've noticed. I remember the first tours we did overseas, and we played Germany and Japan stuck out as two of the places where we played where the audience was knowledgeable. I mean, like, you can tell that they know the history. They know if you play an Elmore James tune, there's a good part of the crowd that actually is aware of that, and that's not always the case.
Yeah, right.
It's that way in the States in certain cities, but not everywhere.
Yeah.
But I remember from the first time playing Germany that there's an awareness that's appreciated. The crowds here listen, which is nice. Because it's not that way everywhere, that's for sure.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you guys.
Have a great concert.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys.